You heard me, Ben continued. Every world you've conquered, every species you've enslaved, they're all fighting back now. And we're helping them. On the screen behind Ben, new contacts appeared. Ships from a dozen different species were emerging from hiding places throughout the solar system. The rebellion had spread far beyond Earth. Ziegther stared at the display. This is impossible. How did you coordinate this? Same way we coordinate everything, Ben replied. We asked for help, and people answered. The truth was both simpler and more complex than the alien could understand. Humans had not just built a fleet, they had built a network. Using captured Empire communication technology, they had contacted every conquered world and offered to share their knowledge of how to fight back. Some species had been too afraid to rebel openly, but they provided intelligence. Others had sabotaged Empire facilities from within. A few, like the Althorians, had joined the fight directly. Captain Nicole Davis commanded the Earthship Vengeance, one of the new hybrid vessels that combined human engineering with alien technology. She was 29 years old with brown hair and fierce green eyes. All ships, this is Captain Davis, she broadcast to the combined fleet. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for everyone the Empire has hurt. Her ship was surrounded by vessels from 6 different species. Former enemies were now working together against the Empire that had oppressed them all. The battle began when the Empire fleet opened fire on the outer defensive platforms. But this time, the humans were ready. Instead of rushing to meet the aliens, the human fleet scattered throughout the solar system. They used the asteroids and planets as cover, forcing the Empire ships to fight in small groups, instead of as one large force. Nichols' ship was part of a mixed squadron that included 2 Althorian traders, a converted Empire cruiser crewed by rebels, and several human fighters. They moved through the asteroid belt, hunting Empire ships that had been separated from the main fleet. Contact bearing 047, reported her sensor officer, Lieutenant Chris Anderson. He was a quiet man with dark hair who had learned to operate alien detection equipment. I see it, Nicole replied. On her screen, an Empire destroyer was trying to hide behind a large asteroid. All ships, attack pattern Delta. Let's show them how teamwork works. The mixed squadron spread out and approached the alien ship from multiple directions. The Empire vessel tried to defend itself, but it was designed to fight enemies that attacked from one direction at a time. The Althorian ships used their superior speed to distract the alien destroyer. The rebel cruiser attacked from above with heavy weapons. The human fighters darted in and out, targeting specific systems. Nicole brought the Vengeance in from below, aiming for the alien ship's engine section. All power to forward weapons, she ordered. The hybrid ship's guns, a combination of human railguns and alien energy weapons, tore through the destroyer's hull. The alien ship exploded in a flash of light. That's 12 down, Nicole reported. To Fleet Command. Throughout the solar system, similar battles were taking place. The Empire's superior technology meant nothing when they were outnumbered 10-1 and fighting an enemy that refused to follow conventional tactics. Supreme Admiral Ziegther watched his fleet being destroyed piece by piece. Half his ships were gone, and the others were scattered and alone. Sir, his communications officer reported, we're receiving surrender requests from 7 of our ships. Ziegther felt his world collapsing around him. Empire ships did not surrender. It was unthinkable. Admiral, his sensor operator called out, multiple contacts approaching our position. On the main screen, a group of human ships led by Commander Carter's flagship was moving toward them. But they were not attacking. They were broadcasting a message. Supreme Admiral, Ben Carter's voice came over the radio. Your fleet is beaten. Your empire is falling apart. You can surrender now, or you can die with your ship. Your choice. Ziegther looked around his bridge. His crew was staring at him, waiting for orders. Some looked afraid. Others looked defeated, for the first time. In his 50-year career, the Supreme Admiral of the Zephyrian Empire spoke the words he had never thought he would say. All ships, cease fire. We surrender. The bridge was silent, except for the hum of the ship's engines. An hour later, Ziegther sat in a small room on the human flagship. Commander Carter sat across from him, along with representatives from several other species. Your empire is finished, Carter said calmly. 47 worlds are in rebellion. Your fleets are destroyed or surrendered. What happens next depends on you. Ziegther raised his scarred head. What do you want from me? Help us build something better, Carter replied. The empire ruled through fear and conquest. We want to create a federation based on cooperation and mutual defense. The alien admiral was quiet for a long moment. Then he asked, Why would you trust me? Carter smiled. Because someone once told us that everyone deserves a second chance. Even supreme admirals who made bad choices. 6 months later, Ambassador Kethver of the Althorian Federation stood in the assembly hall of the new Galactic Federation. Representatives from 57 worlds sat in circular tiers, discussing trade agreements and mutual defense pacts. At the center of the hall stood President Patricia Williams of Earth, now serving as the first elected leader of the Federation. The vote is unanimous, she announced. A Galactic Federation is hereby established. Our mission is simple: to ensure that no species ever again has to fear conquest by an empire. Kethver smiled as he watched former enemies working together. In one corner, human engineers were teaching alien technicians about hybrid technology. In another, former Empire officers were helping to plan the new Federation's defensive strategies. The old Althorian had lived long enough to see empires rise and fall, but he had never seen anything like this. A galaxy united not by conquest, but by choice. As the assembly adjourned, Kethvar approached President Williams. We warned them never to push Earth first, he said quietly. Williams nodded. And now the galaxy knows why. But more importantly, they know what humans do after we win. We help rebuild. She looked out at the representatives filing out of the hall, species that had been enemies for centuries, now working together. Earth remembers everything, she added. The good and the bad. We remember who hurt us, but we also remember who helped us. And we make sure that help is returned. Kethver bowed deeply. The galaxy is fortunate that humans chose cooperation over conquest. William smiled. We learned something important. Ambassador, it's not enough to win. You have to build something better to replace what you destroyed. Outside the hall's windows, ships from dozens of worlds moved peacefully through space, carrying trade goods and messages of friendship instead of weapons and threats of war. The age of the Empire was over. The age of the Federation had begun. And at the center of it all was a small blue planet whose people had proven that when you push them first, they push back with everything they have. But when the fighting is over, they help you build something better. On Earth, Dr. Kevin Zhang coordinated the battle from the Global Defense Center. He sat surrounded by screens, showing the position of every ship in the solar system. All units, execute Maneuver 17, he broadcast. Around Earth, hundreds of ships began moving in a complex pattern. It looked chaotic, but it had been carefully planned. The human ships were creating what military theorists called dynamic defense network. Instead of meeting the aliens head-on, they surrounded them. Every time an alien ship tried to attack, it found itself surrounded by human vessels, attacking from all directions. Captain Maria Santos saw her chance. 3 alien ships were focused on attacking a group of mining vessels. She turned the Defiance toward them. All power to engines, she ordered her crew. "We're going to ram the lead ship." Her crew stared at her. The Defiance was not built for combat. It was a cargo hauler with weapons welded to its hull. "Captain," her first officer said, "we'll be destroyed." "Maybe," Maria replied, "but we'll take them with us." The Defiance accelerated toward the alien ships. As it got closer, Maria activated the ship's communication system. "All ships, this is Captain Santos. Watch and learn how humans fight." Instead of ramming the alien ship directly, Maria did something unexpected. At the last moment, she fired the Defiance's cargo bay doors. Thousands of metal containers shot out like bullets, smashing into the alien vessel's hull. The alien ships. Shields flickered and failed. Immediately, every human ship in the area focused fire on the damaged vessel. It exploded in a brilliant flash. "That's one down," Maria announced calmly. Admiral Vex Thul was no longer laughing. His fleet of 40 ships was being systematically destroyed by thousands of smaller vessels, crewed by people who had learned to fight in space in just Supreme Admiral. Jeek-Thur had never seen anything like the fleet that surrounded him. 300 ships, the entire remaining strength of the Zephyrian Empire, hung in space near the edge of Earth's solar system. He was the most powerful military leader in the galaxy. For 50 years, he had conquered worlds and crushed rebellions. His dark blue skin was covered with scars from 100 battles, and his 4 arms each bore the marks of command. But as he looked at the sensor readings from Earth, he felt something he had never experienced before: fear. How is this possible? He asked his intelligence officer. The younger alien studied his datapad nervously. "Supreme Admiral, our scouts report that the humans have built over 10,000 ships in the past 6 months. They have mining operations on 17 asteroids, 3 space stations, and weapons platforms around every planet in their system." Zeepthir's red eyes narrowed. 10,000 ships? They had none when we first arrived. "Yes, sir. But they learned quickly. They have also been in contact with other species that our empire has conquered. Many of those worlds are now in open rebellion." This was the worst news of all. The empire controlled 47 star systems, but it depended on fear to keep those worlds in line. If the humans had inspired others to rebel, the entire empire could collapse. "Show me their fleet," Zeepthir ordered, the main screens to show space around Earth. What he saw made his stomach turn cold. The human ships were not just numerous, they were diverse. Some looked like modified civilian vessels, others appeared to be completely new designs. But most disturbing of all were the ships that looked familiar. "Are those our ships?" he demanded. "Yes, Supreme Admiral. The humans have been capturing our vessels and converting them. They now have hybrid technology that combines our weapons with their tactics." Zeepthir closed his eyes. This was exactly what the Althorian trader had warned them about. Humans did not just fight, they adapted and improved. On Earth, Commander Ben Carter stood in the new Orbital Command Center above North America. He was 35 years old, with short blonde hair and calm blue eyes. 6 months ago, he had been a logistics officer planning supply runs. Now he commanded the largest military force in human history. "Status report," he ordered. Colonel Janet Lee, his second in command, looked up from her control station. She was a small woman with black hair and quick fingers that moved constantly over her controls. "All defensive platforms are ready," she reported. "The asteroid mining bases are producing ammunition at maximum capacity. Our hybrid ships are in position throughout the solar system." Ben nodded. "What about our allies?" "The Althorian Federation has provided intelligence on Empire ship movements. The rebel worlds in the Outer Rim are attacking Empire supply lines. We're not fighting alone anymore." This was something that had surprised everyone. When word spread, Through the galaxy that a single world had defeated Empire fleets, other conquered species began to hope. Some had even sent secret messages to Earth, offering to help. The Althorians had been the first to openly support Earth. Their ancient trading ships now carried human technology to rebel worlds, spreading the knowledge of how to fight the Empire. Incoming. Transmission, called Lieutenant Pete Morgan from the communications station. He was a young man with red hair who had learned to speak 3 alien languages in the past 6 months. Put it on screen, Ben ordered. The image showed Supreme Admiral Ziegther standing on the bridge of his flagship. He looked older than the previous alien commanders, with more scars and wearier eyes. "Humans of Earth," the alien said in accented English. "I am Supreme Admiral Ziegther. I have come with the full might of the Empire to end your rebellion." Ben stepped forward. "Supreme Admiral, this is Commander Carter. You're not welcome here. Turn around and leave, just like we told your predecessors." Ziegther's face twisted. "With anger, you destroyed 2 of our fleets. You have corrupted other worlds with your defiance. This ends now. Surrender or watch your planet burn." Ben smiled grimly. "Admiral, I think you misunderstood something. We're not just defending Earth anymore. We're liberating your empire." The alien's red eyes widened. "What?" The Liberty's crew had escaped in pods, but they had also managed to grab some alien equipment during their evacuation. It wasn't much, just some control panels and power cells, but it was enough to start with. Alex was a test pilot with 15 years of experience. He had flown every type of aircraft the military had, but alien technology was different. "The controls don't make sense," he reported to Dr. Zhang over the radio. "They respond to touch, but also to some kind of mental signal." "What do you mean?" Zhang asked. Alex was sitting in a makeshift cockpit built around alien control panels. "When I think about turning left, the controls start to respond before I actually touch them. It's like the ship can read my mind." This discovery was shared worldwide immediately. Psychologists and neuroscientists began working with engineers to understand how human minds could interface with alien technology. Meanwhile, every factory on Earth was being converted for war production. Car manufacturers started building missile components. Electronics companies began making military radars. Even toy companies were recruited to make small parts for weapons. But the most important work was being done by ordinary people. Maintenance. Chief Carlos Mendez had figured out how to detect alien energy, but he needed thousands of detection stations, built quickly. The solution came from an unexpected source: ham radio operators. These were people who operated radio equipment as a hobby. There were millions of them around the world. When they heard what was needed, they began modifying their equipment to detect alien signals. Within 48 hours, Earth had an early warning network that covered the entire planet. Teacher Mary Johnson in Ohio was organizing her students to help with the war effort. Her high school students were learning to identify alien technology from pictures. When new debris was found, they could quickly determine if it was important. Farmer Tom Rodriguez in Argentina was using his tractors to help build new runways for military aircraft. All across the world, farmers were offering their land and equipment to help defend Earth. The most surprising help came from children. Kids around the world were playing video games and using their gaming skills to help train military pilots. The games were modified to simulate fighting alien ships. 12-year-old Danny Chun in San Francisco spent 16 hours a day playing these games. His tactics were so good that real fighter pilots began studying his moves. As the 72-hour deadline approached, Earth had become something that had never existed before: a unified planet working toward a single goal. President Williams stood in the command center, watching reports from around the world. The alien fleet was still 24 hours away, but Earth was ready. Status report, she ordered. Dr. Zhang looked up from his screens. We now understand the basics of alien technology. We can't build their weapons, but we can modify our weapons to penetrate their shields. How many modified weapons do we have? Patricia asked. Every nuclear missile on Earth has been upgraded. Every military satellite has been equipped with new targeting systems. We've built 3,000 new interceptor missiles using hybrid human-alien technology. Patricia nodded. And our pilots? We have 50 volunteers who can now interface with alien control systems. It's not pretty, but it works. General Peterson spoke up. Madam President, I have to say, I've never seen anything like this. In 72 hours, we've accomplished what should have taken years. Patricia smiled grimly. That's what humans do when we're pushed into a corner. We adapt. She looked at the main screen, which showed the approaching alien fleet. In a few hours, they would find out if human determination was enough to defeat alien technology. Send a message to all units, she ordered. This is it. Remember Captain Miller. Remember why we're fighting. Show these aliens what happens when they threaten Earth. Around the world, millions of people prepared for the first interstellar war in human history. They had no idea if they would win or lose. But they knew one thing for certain. They would not go down without a fight. The aliens were about to learn that when you push Earth first, Earth pushes back with everything it has. Admiral Vexthel stared at the blue planet growing larger on his ship's main screen. 3 months had passed since the human ship had rammed his command vessel. 3 months of humiliation, as he explained to his superiors, how one small exploration ship had destroyed his flagship. He had returned to the Empire's core worlds to gather a larger fleet. 40 warships now followed him toward Earth, each one bristling with weapons that could turn continents into ash. Admiral, his communications officer reported, we are receiving a transmission from the planet. Put it on screen, Vexthel ordered. The image changed to show a human female with gray hair and steady eyes. She wore a blue uniform with symbols of rank on her shoulders. I am President Patricia Williams of Earth, the human said. You are not welcome in our solar system. Turn around and leave now, or face the consequences. Vexthel laughed. The sound echoed through his ship's bridge. Human, I have returned with 40 warships. You have no choice but to surrender. The human president's expression did not change. Admiral, you were warned about pushing Earth first. You didn't listen. Now you're going to learn why that was a mistake. The transmission ended. Vexthel turned to his tactical officer. Begin the attack. Target their major cities first. Make them understand their situation. Yes, Admiral, the officer replied. All ships, weapons free. Begin planetary bombardment. The alien fleet spread out as they approached Earth. Their weapons began to charge with deadly energy, but something was wrong. Admiral, the sensor operator called out. I'm detecting thousands of objects moving toward us from the planet. Show. Vexthel ordered. The main screen changed to show space around Earth. What he saw made his blood run cold. The planet was surrounded by ships. Not just military vessels, but converted cargo haulers, mining ships, passenger transports, and things that looked like they had been built in someone's garage. There were thousands of them. This is impossible, he whispered. The planet had no space fleet 3 months ago. Commander Ryan Brooks sat in the cockpit of his fighter, leading the first squadron of Earth's new Space Force. His ship was a strange hybrid of human and alien technology. It looked like someone had taken a human fighter jet and grafted alien components onto it. Ryan was 28 years old with black hair and green eyes. He had been a test pilot before the alien invasion began. Now he was commanding officer of the Solar Defense Force. All units, this is Hawk Leader. he said into his radio. Remember your training. Stay together, watch each other's backs, and show these aliens what humans can do. His squadron consisted of 50 fighters, each one piloted by a volunteer who had learned to interface with alien technology. They were surrounded by thousands of other ships, all crewed by people who had never expected to fight in space. Captain Maria Santos commanded the U.S. Defiance, a converted cargo hauler that now bristled with weapons. She was a merchant captain who had volunteered when the call went out for anyone with space experience. Defiance to all civilian vessels, she broadcast. Remember, we're not trying to win a fair fight. We're trying to survive. Use everything you've learned. The alien fleet opened fire first. Energy beams lanced out toward the Earth ships. Many of the beams struck home, destroying human vessels in bright explosions. But something strange happened. Instead of breaking apart when ships were lost, the human fleet seemed to get more organized. Ryan Brooks dove his fighter through the alien formation, followed by his entire squadron. They moved like a flock of birds, each pilot anticipating what the others would do. Break by pairs, Ryan ordered. Use pattern Delta 7. The human fighters scattered in what looked like random directions. But it wasn't random. It was a tactic they had practiced for weeks, inspired by how flocks of birds avoid predators. The alien ships tried to target individual fighters, but as soon as they aimed at one, it would change direction, while another fighter attacked from a different angle. Admiral Vexthal watched in confusion as his superior firepower seemed to have no effect. What are they doing? He demanded. His tactical officer studied the sensor readings. They're not fighting like a military force, Admiral. They're fighting like a swarm of insects. President Patricia Williams had been in office for 2 years, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. She sat in the emergency command center, deep beneath the White House. The room was filled with screens showing news reports from around the world. Every channel was talking about the same thing. Aliens were real, and they were coming to Earth. How long do we have? Patricia asked. She was a tall woman with gray hair and steady hands. Before becoming president, she had been a general in the Air Force. She knew how to stay calm in a crisis. Dr. Kevin Jong, director of the Global Defense Initiative, looked up from his tablet. He was a thin man with thick glasses and nervous energy. Based on the alien ship's current speed, they'll reach Earth in 72 hours. And we have no idea what they're capable of? Patricia asked. The Liberty's sensors got some data before ... Kevin paused. He didn't want to say before Captain Miller died. We know they have energy weapons and strong shields. Their ships are much larger than anything we've built. Patricia nodded. Around the table sat the most important people on Earth. The Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, scientists, and military leaders from every major nation. They had all come together in less than 12 hours. General Peterson, Patricia said to a large man with short white hair. What are our military options? General Peterson shook his head. Madam President, we have to be honest. Our weapons were designed to fight other humans on Earth. We have no experience with space combat. The aliens destroyed our best ship with one person on board in seconds. So we surrender? Asked Dr. Elena Volkov, the Russian representative. She was a small woman with fierce eyes. No, Patricia said firmly. Captain Miller didn't sacrifice his life so we could give up without a fight. She stood up and walked to the main screen. It showed the alien fleet moving slowly toward Earth, 11 dark shapes against the stars. Dr. Zhang, what do we know about their technology? Kevin pulled up new information on his tablet. We got lucky. When the Liberty rammed their command ship, the explosion scattered debris across a wide area. Some of it drifted toward our monitoring stations in the asteroid belt. He showed images of strange metal pieces floating in space. Our salvage teams have recovered 17 pieces of alien technology. They're already on their way back to Earth. Patricia felt a spark of hope. How long until we can study them? The samples will arrive in 18 hours, Kevin replied. But Madam President, I have to warn you. Even if we learn how their technology works, we don't have time to build new weapons. Maybe we don't need new weapons, said a voice from the back of the room. Everyone turned to look. A woman in a Navy uniform stood up. She was young, with short, red hair and bright blue eyes. Commander Lisa Thompson, ma'am, she said. I work on the Rapid Technology Integration Project. Patricia waved her forward. Go ahead, Commander. Lisa walked to the front of the room. She was nervous, but determined. Ma'am, what if we don't try to build alien weapons? What if we figure out how to make our weapons work against alien ships? Explain. Patricia ordered. Lisa activated a wall screen. It showed technical drawings of missiles and satellites. We have thousands of nuclear missiles, lasers on our satellites, railguns on our naval ships. The problem is that alien shields can probably stop all of these weapons. She changed the image to show alien technology. But if we can understand how their shields work, maybe we can find a way around them, or through them. General Peterson frowned. Commander, that's a big maybe. Yes, sir, Lisa agreed. But we have something the aliens don't expect. What's that? Patricia asked. Lisa smiled. Every person on Earth working together. She changed the screen again. This time it showed a map of the world with thousands of red dots. These are our research facilities. Universities, military labs, private companies. In normal times, they compete with each other. But these aren't normal times. Patricia began to understand. You want to share everything with everyone. Yes, ma'am. Every piece of alien technology we recover gets sent to every lab on Earth at the same time. Every discovery gets shared immediately. Instead of a few scientists working in secret, we have millions of people working together. The room was quiet as everyone thought about this idea. Dr. Zhang spoke first. The logistics would be incredible. We'd need to coordinate research across different languages, time zones, and countries. We'd also need to share our most secret military technology with everyone. General Peterson added. Patricia looked around the room. These people represented different nations that had been enemies for centuries. Russians and Americans, Chinese and Japanese. Countries that barely trusted each other were being asked to work as one. How long would it take to set up this network? She asked Lisa. If every country agrees, we could have basic communication links within 6 hours. Full data sharing within 12 hours. Patricia made her decision. Do it, ma'am. General Peterson looked surprised. Commander Thompson is right, Patricia said. We're not fighting as Americans or Russians or Chinese. We're fighting as humans. And humans work better together. She activated the room's communication system. Get me the leaders of every major nation. Emergency conference in 1 hour. Over the next few hours, something amazing happened. Leaders who had never agreed on anything began working together. The president of Russia opened his secret weapons labs. The Prime Minister of China shared classified technology. The European Union offered their manufacturing capabilities. Within 12 hours, every major research facility on Earth was connected. Scientists in Tokyo were working with engineers in Berlin. Military experts in Washington were sharing data with physicists. In Moscow, when the alien debris arrived, it was immediately studied in 50 different locations at once. Dr. Sarah Kim, a materials scientist in Seoul, was the first to make a breakthrough. She discovered that alien whole metal changed its properties when exposed to certain radio frequencies. She shared her discovery instantly. Within minutes, Researchers in other countries were confirming her findings. Engineer Carlos Mendez in Mexico City found that alien power cores used a type of energy that humans had only theorized about. But the theory was enough. He figured out how to detect alien energy signatures. His discovery was shared immediately. Soon, tracking stations around the world were being modified to watch for alien ships. Fighter pilot Alex Johnson was at Edwards Air Force Base in California when he volunteered. For the most dangerous job in the world, learning to fly captured alien technology. Captain Jake Miller was drinking coffee when the universe changed forever. He sat in the command chair of the UES Liberty, watching the stars through the main screen. The Liberty was not a warship. It was Earth's first deep space exploration vessel. Built to find new worlds and make peaceful contact with alien life. Jake was a former Navy pilot from Texas. He had short brown hair and kind eyes that crinkled when he smiled. He was 42 years old and had been flying ships since he was 18. The Liberty was his first command, and he was proud of his crew. Captain called Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez from the communications station. She was a young woman with long black hair and quick hands that moved over her controls like a pianist. "I'm getting something strange on the long-range sensors." Jake set down his coffee cup. "What kind of strange?" 12 large objects moving toward us from outside the solar system. They're too big to be asteroids and moving too fast to be natural. Jake felt his stomach tighten. For years, humans had wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now, it looked like they were about to find out. "Put it on the main screen," he ordered. The image changed. In the distance, 12 dark shapes moved through space. They were clearly artificial, with smooth lines and glowing parts that pulsed with strange light. "Those are ships," whispered Dr. Susan Hayes, the ship's science officer. She was an older woman with gray hair and thick glasses. "Alien ships." Jake nodded slowly. "Amy, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we have first contact. Then, open a channel to those ships." Amy's fingers flew over her controls. "Channel open, sir." Jake stood up and straightened his uniform. This moment would be remembered forever. He wanted to get it right. "Unknown vessels. This is Captain Jake Miller of the Earth ship Liberty. Welcome to our solar system. We come in peace and hope to establish friendly relations." They waited. Space was silent except for the hum of the Liberty's engines, and a voice answered. It was cold and mechanical, speaking English with a strange accent. "Human vessel. I am Admiral Vextil of the Zephyrian Empire. You will surrender your ship immediately. Your species will submit to imperial rule and provide tribute. You have 10 minutes to comply." Jake felt the blood drain from his face. This was not the peaceful first contact that Earth had hoped for. "Admiral, I think there's been a misunderstanding," Jake said carefully. "We're explorers, not warriors. Perhaps we can discuss this peacefully." "There is nothing to discuss," Vexthul replied. "Submit or be destroyed. 9 minutes remaining." Jake looked around his bridge. His crew of 23 people stared back at him. They were scientists, engineers, and explorers. They had no weapons, except for a few handheld devices meant for emergencies. "Captain," said Commander Bill Foster, his second in command. Bill was a big man with red hair and freckles. He had been Jake's friend for 15 years. "We could run. The Liberty is fast." Jake shook his head. "If we run, they'll follow us to Earth. Our families are there. Everyone we know is there." Dr. Hayes spoke up. "Sir, I'm reading their ships. They have weapons that could destroy us in seconds. Their shields are stronger than anything we've ever seen." 8 minutes, the alien voice announced. Jake closed his eyes and thought. The Liberty had no weapons, no shields, and no chance of winning a fight. But maybe they didn't need to win. Maybe they just needed to send a message. Amy, he said quietly, open a channel to Earth. All frequencies. Make sure everyone can hear this. Yes, sir, Amy replied. Her voice was steady, but Jake could see. Her hands shaking. Jake picked up the microphone. This is Captain Jake Miller of the UES Liberty to all Earth stations. We have encountered alien ships in the asteroid belt. They call themselves the Zephyrian Empire. They are demanding our surrender and want Earth to submit to their rule. He paused and looked at his crew. They were all watching him with trust. In their eyes, the aliens have given us 10 minutes to surrender. We're not going to do that. We're going to show them what humans do when bullies come calling. On the main screen, the alien ships were getting closer. They were huge, each one, 10 times larger than the Liberty. 6 minutes, Admiral Vexthul announced. Jake continued his broadcast to Earth. To everyone listening, remember this moment. Remember that we were here. Remember that we didn't back down. He turned to his crew. I want everyone to know that serving with you has been the greatest honor of my life. Bill, take us toward there. Command ship. Commander Foster nodded. Aye, sir. Full speed ahead. The Liberty turned toward the largest alien vessel. It was a massive thing covered in weapons and armor. Red lights pulsed along its hull like a heartbeat. Captain, Dr. Hayes, sighed, what are you planning to do? Jake smiled grimly. I'm going to introduce them to human stubbornness. 3 minutes, the alien voice said. Amy, send this message to the alien fleet, Jake ordered. Admiral Vexthul, this is Captain Miller. Here's our answer to your ultimatum. Jake paused. Then he said something that would echo through history. This is Earth. We're going to need you to back off and try that again, but nicer this time. The alien response was immediate. Weapons on all 12 ships began to glow with deadly energy. Human fool, Admiral Vexthul snarled. You will die for your defiance. Maybe, Jake replied. But you're going to remember us. He turned to his crew one last time. All hands abandon ship. Get to the escape pods. That's an order. Sir, we're not leaving you, Commander Foster said. Yes, you are, Jake replied firmly. Someone needs to tell Earth what happened here. Someone needs to warn them. His crew hesitated, but they knew he was right. One by one, they began to leave the bridge. Dr. Hayes squeezed Jake's shoulder as she passed. Commander Foster was the last to go. Jake, he said quietly. I know, Bill. Take care of them. Jake was alone on the bridge now. The alien ships were very close. He could see details on their hulls, weapon ports opening like hungry mouths. Amy, he called to the empty communication station. Then he remembered she was gone. He walked over and activated the radio himself. All Earth stations, this is Jake Miller. Final transmission. Tell my wife I love her. Tell my kids their dad was thinking of them. He sat back down in the captain's chair and put his hands on the flight controls. Computer, override all safety protocols. Set ramming course for the alien command ship. Maximum speed. The computer's voice was calm. Warning. This action will result in the destruction of this vessel. I know, Jake said. Do it anyway. The Liberty's engines roared to life. The small Earth ship accelerated toward the massive alien. Vessel like a bullet, Admiral Vexthul saw what was happening. The human is trying to ram us. All weapons fire. Energy beams lanced out from the alien ships. Most missed the small, fast-moving Liberty. The few that hit damaged the ship, but didn't. Stop it. Jake gripped the controls as his ship shook apart around him. Smoke filled the bridge. Sparks flew from broken equipment. But the Liberty kept going. Come on, girl, he whispered to his ship. Just a little farther. The alien command ship grew huge in front of him. He could see alien faces in the windows. their eyes wide with shock. They had never seen anyone do something so crazy. At the last second, Jake reached for the communications control. With his final breath, he activated the radio one more time. "This is the Liberty. Remember this, you alien bastards. Earth remembers everything." The Liberty smashed into the alien command ship at full speed. The explosion lit up space like a new star. Both ships were destroyed instantly. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez, floating in an escape pod with the rest of the crew, watched the explosion through a small window. Tears ran down her face as she activated the pod's radio. "All Earth stations. This is Lieutenant Rodriguez of the Liberty. Captain Miller is gone. The ship is gone." But he got their attention. She looked at the remaining 11 alien ships, which had stopped moving. They seemed confused by what had just happened. "This is our final transmission," Amy continued. "The aliens are coming to Earth. They want us to surrender. Captain Miller showed them what we think of that idea." She paused, then repeated Jake's final words. "Earth remembers everything." The message traveled at light speed toward Earth. In a few hours, everyone on the planet would know that they were not alone in the universe. They would know that aliens existed, and that those aliens wanted to conquer them. But they would also know that Captain Jake Miller, a pilot from Texas, had looked an alien admiral in the eye and told him to back off. And they would know that when push came to shove, humans pushed back. The war for Earth's freedom had begun. The Great Hall was silent, except for the soft hum of alien machines. Tall creatures with blue skin and 4 arms sat around a massive table made of black stone. Their red eyes glowed in the dim light as they waited for the meeting to begin. Admiral Vexthel stood at the head of the table. He was the biggest of them all, with scars covering his thick neck and arms. His uniform was covered in medals from many wars. He had never lost a battle in 30 years of fighting. "Today we plan our next move," Vexthel said in his deep voice. "The scouts have found a new system. It has many planets and one world full of life. The beings there call it Earth." The other military leaders nodded. This was normal for them. They would arrive at a new world, demand surrender, and take what they wanted. Most planets gave up without a fight. The few that tried to resist were quickly crushed. The doors to the hall opened with a loud sound. A group of strange aliens walked in. They were tall and thin with silver skin that seemed to shine. Their leader was old, with white marks on his face that showed his age. "I am Kethvar of the Althorian Federation," the silver alien said. His voice was calm but worried. "I have come to speak about the world you plan to attack." Admiral Vexthel laughed. "The Eldori. You traitors are always worried about something. What makes this planet so special?" Kethvar stepped forward. His large black eyes looked directly at the Admiral. "Because it is home to humans. And humans are not like other species. All species say they are different," another military leader said. "They all think they are special until our ships arrive." "No," Kethvar said firmly. "You do not understand. My people have traded with humans for 5 of their years. We have seen what they do when they are threatened. They do not act like other beings." He touched a small device on his wrist. The air above the table began to glow. Images appeared showing human ships and stations. "Look at this," Kethvar said. This was a human trading post near the outer rim. Pirates attacked it. The humans had only 3 small ships against 20 pirate vessels. The images showed the battle. The human ships were much smaller than the pirate ships. They should have been destroyed quickly. "Watch what they do." Kethvar continued. In the images, the human ships did something strange. Instead of running away or fighting normally, they began to work together in ways that made no sense. One ship flew directly into the enemy formation, not to attack, but to confuse them. Another ship used its cargo as weapons, shooting containers of metal ore like bullets. "This is just luck," Admiral Vexthal said. But his voice was not as sure as before. "There is more," Kethver said. The images changed. This human was a simple mechanic on a mining station. When raiders attacked, he was trapped in the engine. Room. A new image showed a human male with dark hair and dirty clothes. He was alone, surrounded by broken machines and enemy soldiers. "He should have surrendered," Kethver said. Instead, he turned the mining equipment into weapons. He used the ore processors to create explosive devices. He held off 50 armed raiders for 6 hours, using only mining tools. The military leaders watched as the human in the image moved through the station. He was not a soldier, but he fought. Like one, he used every piece of equipment as a weapon. He turned lights into blinding flashes and used the artificial gravity to trap his enemies. "One being cannot do this," said Commander Zeekmer, a female with bright red scars on her arms. "It is not possible?" "That is what we thought," Kethvar replied. "But humans do impossible things when they are pushed. They do not think like we do. When other species are cornered, they surrender or die. When humans are cornered, they become something else." He changed the images again. This time it showed a human female with short blonde hair. She was the captain of a small cargo ship. This human was carrying medical supplies to a colony world. She was stopped by 3 warships demanding tribute. Her ship had no weapons. She should have given them what they wanted. The images showed what happened next. The human woman did not surrender. Instead, she sent out a message on all communication channels. She told every ship in the area what was happening. She asked for help. Within 2 hours, she had convinced 12 different merchant ships to work together. They had no military training. They were just traders and cargo haulers like herself. But they surrounded the warships and forced them to leave. Admiral Vexthal was quiet now. He studied the images carefully. How did civilian ships defeat warships? They did not defeat them with weapons, Kethver explained. The human woman convinced the merchants to share information about the pirates. She created a communication network that let them coordinate their movements. She turned traders into a fleet. The old Althorian looked around the room. Every military leader was watching him now. "Humans do not just fight," he said slowly. "They adapt. They learn. They turn whatever they have into weapons. A human farmer becomes a warrior. A human mechanic becomes an engineer of war. A human trader becomes an admiral." He paused and let his words sink in. But most dangerous of all, humans work together when they are threatened. Other species fight alone or in small groups. Humans can convince their entire planet to fight as one. "Commander," Sheikmer leaned forward. "You are saying they are good warriors." "So what? We have faced good warriors before." "No," Kethver said, shaking his head. "You have faced warriors who fight well. Humans are not just warriors. They are a species that treats war like a problem to be solved. They will find ways to defeat you that you cannot imagine." Admiral Vexthal stood up. His massive form cast a shadow over the table. "I have conquered 47 worlds. I have defeated armies with millions of soldiers. What can one small planet do against the might of our empire?" Kethver looked at him with sad eyes. "Admiral, I beg you to listen. My people have survived for thousands of years by knowing when not to fight. We are telling you now, never push Earth first." "Why?" Vexthal demanded. "Because if you attack their world, if you threaten their families, if you push them into a corner, they will not just fight back. They will make sure that you can never threaten anyone else again. They will keep fighting until either they are all dead or you are." The room was quiet for a long moment. The military leaders looked at each other. Some seemed worried by the warning. Others looked angry. Finally, Admiral Vexthil spoke. I appreciate your concern, Althorian, but the Zephyrian Empire does not back down from primitive worlds. We will. Send our ships to Earth as planned. Kethver closed his eyes. Then may the stars have mercy on you all. Because the humans will not. The Althorian delegation left the Great Hall in silence. They had done what they could. The warning had been given. Now they could only wait and see if the Empire would learn. The hard way what it meant to push Earth first. Admiral Vexthil watched them go. Then he turned to his officers. Prepare the fleet. We leave for Earth in 3 days. None of them knew that this decision would change the galaxy forever.